Grand rising and shining to you all. Happy Sunday. This is your girl Selexi here from She Shakespeare, and coming to you with some new information, some reminders, and maybe just triggering your memory. I want to talk to you today about overthinking versus reflection. Overthinking versus reflection. Now, I am a self-reflecting visionary, a divine feminine intuitive. I meditate and contemplate on issues which serve to refine and define my temple and cleanse my sanctuary. During this healing season, these behaviors may come across as overthinking. And when I say healing season, I am currently in a healing season, as I am aware that many of us are during this time following the shutdown and the onset of COVID-19. So I am in a personal healing season. During my healing season, I must control the amount of stress in my life. And so that's what I mean by healing season. I am in the process of having my cells regenerated, literally at the core level, base level, to basically be born anew, brand new, a new internal physical expression and a new external physical expression. And so I am currently in that healing season. So anyway, on numerous occasions, though, prior to this current healing season, and actually even recently, I have been labeled as an overthinker. Most of the time, that label comes from a man. In fact, every single time, it has been a man who has labeled me as an overthinker. And I'm going to say mistakenly labeled me, because obviously if you don't know me very well, you haven't spent a lot of time with me, getting to know me, having conversation and dialogue with me, witnessing behaviors and attitudes over a period of time, there's no way you could actually draw that conclusion and label someone an overthinker. I myself never would consider calling anyone an overthinker. How you process information in your life is how you process information in your life. That is not my responsibility. Now, however, if you've been with me for a period of time, a stretch of time, say a decade or so, and you decide to then label me as an overthinker, then we need to have some dialogue about that. I need to know what your perspective, what perspective you're coming from, you know, what has shaped your perception to label someone as an overthinker. Now, I always learn from every experience that I have, and those cycles are getting shorter and shorter. And so what I mean by the cycles getting shorter and shorter, you could have an experience today that you may not learn the lesson from it for a year or more. You could also have an experience today that you realize the lesson in it tomorrow. And as you continue this practice, you will have lessons during the day and get the meaning from it that same day, instantaneous. You will know why a certain situation or experience rubbed you the wrong way. It interfered with your vibration. It caused you to be unsettled in your frequency. And that's okay. That just means that there's something that you're supposed to glean from that. I am on a mission, and I'm on my way up, and therefore I'm going to be faced with different types of challenges, probably closer together in frequency, and also causing me to think on a higher level, causing me to elevate my thoughts and really hunker down and meditate, contemplate, and determine whether or not I need to assimilate the lessons that I learned from these experiences that rubbed me the wrong way. What I also want to share with you is that what I've gleaned, because I've recently been labeled an overthinker, and because of that, I thought, you know, let me do a little research, because that's at least 3 times in the most recent past that a man has labeled me as an overthinker. So I'm like, let me just look into that. What I discovered in my research is that women are twice as likely to be labeled as overthinkers. The divine feminine is twice as likely to be labeled as an overthinker by the divine masculine. I think that's very interesting. I also know that it's not negative to think, to think about your experiences, to think about your friendships and relationships, to think about your circumstances, to think about the challenges, to think about your next step, your next plan, your goals. There's no harm in thinking about those things. Now, we use thinking as a very broad term, right? Which is why I think our divine masculine refers to us as overthinkers. If we're discussing an issue that has raise the vibration in us, and raise the vibration just means that that issue or that situation wants your attention. So it's your attention, it's your focus, it's your energy that you're giving to that issue. That is not overthinking. That is recognizing that something in your life requires attention. That is recognizing that there is an area in your life that is out of balance. And this situation has come to serve as an opportunity for you to correct the balance, to bring yourself back into harmony. Now, this most recent issue involved a friend of a person I consider a friend. However, I told you I'm in healing season, and one of the things that happens in healing season is that you take assessment of all your circumstances. You take assessment of your financial situation, your relationship with money, your relationship with abundance and prosperity, your relationship with other beings of light, your relationship with spiritual beings, other humans. You take stock or assessment of those things. If there's behaviors and attitudes and conversations that come up out of those relationships, those might also rub you the wrong way or increase your vibration to cause you to need to focus attention on that issue. All those things come with reason. And so this happened to me recently, and it's going to require me to take or conduct an assessment of the relationship that I have with this individual. I am of the mindset that every relationship should have reciprocal benefits. What that means is that you're not coming to the table empty-handed, and nor am I. We're getting on this ship together to relate. Therefore, you must have something of value to share, to relate. I know I bring multiple things of value to relate. However, I don't spend a lot of time with a gross number of people. My circle is small, and right now it has to be small. I can only have high vibrating, positive perspective individuals in my circle. Those who are open-minded and ready to also grow and elevate. If I have it, in my circle of friends, one of us cannot be vibrating and elevating to another frequency without it impacting the other. A friend of mine recently said that I don't want to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, and neither do I. So what happens is, when you have effective relationships, if one of you is growing or elevating, there should be that process happening in everybody else. If not, perhaps your salt has lost its savor. And so when I was faced with this issue to assess a relationship, I was discussing it with a friend, and the friend stated that I was overthinking the situation and that I just needed to move towards forgiveness or compassion. And I agree with that. I'm always moving towards forgiveness and compassion. However, those things are the byproduct of my having processed the situation. Once I can sit back, once I have the opportunity to sit back, reflect, contemplate, and meditate on the situation, behavior, conversation, or whatever the situation may have been, the experience, I am then able, and generally I will discuss it with someone else, because I never want to fully rely on my own perspective about a situation. And so if there are some witnesses to a behavior or a situation or experience, then I will seek perspectives from other individuals. That's to sharpen my perspective, to expand my perspective, and to give me a better view of what has happened, and that will help me discern how I'm going to respond to that situation. And respond is the correct word, not react. You want to respond to a situation. And if you're sitting back, reflecting, contemplating, and meditating, you are giving yourself that proper time to respond. In individuals such as myself during this healing season, that is absolutely a must for me. I must take the time to evaluate the situation fairly and just as I can before responding with a decision or an outcome for that experience. So again, we're talking about overthinking versus reflecting. Overthinking versus reflecting. So what I have gleaned from this experience, having the situation with the friend, demonstrating negative behavior, and then discussing the situation with some of the people in my circle, as well as a male divine feminine masculine energy, and being told that I am overthinking the situation. What I want to say to you all from a Shakespearean perspective is that some things we have to also exercise caution and good judgment with who we even discuss certain situations with. Divine masculine doesn't handle things the same way divine feminine does. Divine masculine is very concrete, very short and to the point, and oftentimes divine masculine, and when I say divine masculine, it could be something, an individual being outside of yourself, or it could also be the divine masculine energy within you. But when you are entertaining the perspective of divine masculine, internal or external, it has to be balanced. So you must balance it with wisdom, in addition to the perspective of divine feminine. Wisdom is the mediator. Wisdom will come in and be the deciding factor as to how you're going to respond and how you're going to move towards compassion and forgiveness. Wisdom is what shapes the framework for that process. I've left out another characteristic, probably acceptance. Before you can forgive and demonstrate compassion towards the other person, you also have to have acceptance. Acceptance for how you felt in the moment when you experienced it, acceptance for the situation in and of itself, acceptance of it as a potential lesson for you, something that you can grow from, because when you're in a healing season, it's healing those open wounds as well as preparing for growth. You can't really fully and effectively grow without first healing the soil. The soil must be healed. And so what's going to happen when you're in healing season is things are going to raise up in your vibration. Situations are going to raise up in your experience to help you both heal and grow. So overthinking and reflecting have similar components, yet overthinking is a very low vibrating phrase to describe something that has yet to be fully realized. Reflecting, however, is a higher vibrating positive phrase to utilize, and it promotes the healing and the growth. So rather than accept a negative, low vibrating label from divine masculine, choose to vibrate higher. Choose to seek the mediator. Choose to seek wisdom so that you don't become divided, so that divine masculine and divine feminine continue to operate and move along the same course together. A house divided cannot stand. Your divine masculine and your divine feminine must be in harmony in order for you to move forward, upward, and onward. This has been your girl Selexi, coming to you to remind you, choose always the higher vibrations in every experience. Choose always the higher vibrating labels, if you must use labels to describe your experience. Always remember that you are having experiences with purpose, and allow yourself the amount of time that you require based upon you and who you are and where you at in this life experience. Refrain from allowing others to put pressure on you or try to define that situation for you. Listen to the voice of wisdom when you hear it, because even a camel can provide, or even a rock can provide some level of wisdom in that experience in the moment. It is up to you to be discerning enough to receive it, examine it, recognize it, and receive it, assimilate it into your being. This is your girl Selexi signing out. Thank you so much. Wholeness, vibrations, high vibrations, and a fulfilling day to you.